Hey everyone, I'm here to help you out with something very important. That is how to do your daily discussion for each class period. So, as I discussed in the first day of class, the key thing to note about the day-to-day work for this course is by the beginning of class, by the time class starts, I have expected you on Blackboard to turn in your daily discussion. And so your daily discussion, as I talked about before, is just about a minimum 75 word response to the question that's posed on the daily discussion page on Blackboard. Okay? And so one of the key things to note is I have expectations about what I want you to discuss, the length, and just kind of the content of what you go into. Okay? So what I'm going to do is go into an example question and example response and tell you why I think it's appropriate and something to replicate on your own terms when you do this for each daily discussion. Okay? So let's start with the question. So begin your response by discussing the basic differences between the soft and firm view of the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. In your day-to-day conversations and experiences, which view do you find to be most accurate and why? So this is essentially a two-part question here. It's essentially asking first, tell me what the soft and firm view of Sapir-Whorf is. Now, the good news, those of you who have me in the past, especially for online classes, I'm not expecting you to define it directly from the textbook with a citation. Okay, that is going to happen for the essays, but for daily discussions, it's more about you starting off discussing what you got from the specific part of the textbook I'm asking you to evaluate. So give me kind of your paraphrased overview of how you understand it. And then the second part of the question is give me examples from your own life about which do you think is more accurate. Okay, so that's the exact order that you're going to see me go into in this answer. Okay, so I start off by just really giving a basic overview of Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. So I look at the definition in the textbook and I say, as I'm trying to think of it and say it on my own terms, what does that look like? So I can tell you kind of the definition from the textbook I used for this is not going to be the best, I think, most accurate way for you to articulate this in your daily discussion because I want to see what you got from it. I want to see how you understand it. So I have written Sapir-Whorf hypothesis asserts that the way in which an individual experiences and understands the world around them is shaped by the language they learn. Okay? As you can see, that's not necessarily a textbook definition if you were to look it up in a textbook. It's kind of just an overview. So starting off with that is key. So then I go into the discussion of the soft view versus the firm view. So I have one sentence, kind of generally what the term is, then I give another sentence for each part of it. Okay? So the soft view, individuals can learn different languages, therefore adapt to distinct cultural backgrounds and beliefs. But in the firm view, language acts like a prison. Once they learn it, they are forever impacted by its features. So again, this is just my overview and my understanding of the concept. Okay? So then what I do is I signal the transition to the next part of the question. In my everyday experiences, the soft view is more accurate. So I make that really clear right there. And so this example that I'm going to state and explain is all in support of that statement. One of my best friends growing up was born and raised in India and speaks Gujarati, and he showed me how some words require added hand gestures to demonstrate the entire meaning. When he taught me these communicative characteristics, I was better able to understand how being raised in a more nonverbal language and culture affected his belief that Americans are very loud. So as you can see here, what I did is I took an example, right, that reinforced one of the views, and I made sure to connect that example back to how I defined it or how I understood it. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for you to do. You're going to notice most daily discussions, it's going to have you discuss a concept or a topic. Then it's going to ask you to relate it to your own experience and provide examples. So if you can follow this kind of formula here, I shouldn't say formula, but if you can follow this structure, that is, give me kind of your general understanding of the concept, make sure then that you have a good connective sentence to the question being asked, and then examples to back it up. If you do those three things, you'll be good. Okay? Just always remember, it should reference things directly from the textbook. You don't have to provide a citation, just as I do it here. And the second part of it is you want to make sure to always know it's a minimum of 75 words, and it can even be longer. This one I have here is about 130. I ask that you don't go over 150. I think if you can keep between 75 and 150 for each daily discussion, you'll be in great shape. Okay? As always, feel free to ask me before or after class or email me if you have any questions, but I hope you found this video helpful because although it's probably basic, you probably knew how to do this. I understand that it can be tough sometimes to know, like, what am I supposed to say? How am I supposed to structure this? So hopefully this video helps you in doing that. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone.